Welcome to the video on activity management spa bookings. So there are two main sets of menus. There's the ribbon across the top and the folder listing on the left. So we're going to use the folder listing on the left for today's session. So we're going to go to Health and Spa, Tasks, and Bookings. This will open the booking screen. Now by default the system will give you showing the service providers and what they have booked for that particular day. You do have the option of switching that view to show it by the rooms and what's booked in each room on that day. So I'm going to do this from the service category view, and one of the things that can help with the flow of a booking is to use the filters on this main screen first. So first of all, you click what day you want to make the booking for. And then for the categories, pick what the main category is. So this person wants to come in for, say, a facial. And as soon as you pick that category, it'll change this view to only show you those service providers that are scheduled to work and can perform that service. So at this point, I can click underneath whichever one I want and next to the time I want. So this will take me into the booking screen. Now from here, it's always best to work from the top down. So the first thing is to tell it the member that's booking. So if you know the member number, you can type it in here and press enter. Or if you want to look them up on the database, you click this little icon with the person in the blue shirt. This will bring up the member database. Now this is defaulted to a search to begin with. So you can search the standard way, which is by typing in the last name. And as you type, it'll start to shrink the view to only those that match. But you can also search by first name. You can search by phone number. You can search by the email address. So there's multiple ways to pick the person that you want to block for this. So I'm going to double click and it'll bring in that person's information. So if I click on the client info, I'll have their information from the Jonas Club Management member database. So I've told it the date, I've told it the time, and I told it which category I wanted to look at. So these are my facials that are available. So I'm going to pick the appropriate one. I told it I wanted April, and it's defaulting to the Aloe room because alphabetically that's the first room available. But obviously I can override this. I could say, no, we want Deborah, and we want it in the lavender room. Now as soon as you pick the service provider, you'll notice to the right there's a requested. Now if you flag this, this is simply a note field that says to the system and on certain reports that Bettina had actually requested that Deborah do this service. So I picked the service I want, and to actually add it to Bettina's booking, I can either double click on it in the list or click once to highlight, have the provider and facility set, and just click add service. That will add the service to the booking. Now the system is showing me for Bettina's current booking what she has booked, and Deborah because that's the current person or service provider I have selected. If I were to change this to April, for instance, it'll then show what April has available. Now, assuming you have set your system up to allow multiple bookings in a room, perhaps she is also going to have, at the same time, a manicure. So then I can then go here, pick my category, pick the manicure, and pick who's going to be doing it. Now by default, adding a second service into the booking, it wants to book it right after the current booking. But if I actually want it to be at the same time, I can override that. So I can say, no, I want this actually to take place at 10. And I'm going to go to 10:45. And again, I can click Add Service. Now, it's going to come up and warn me that she's already booked, but that's fine, and that the room is already booked. So now I have 2 bookings in the same room for the same person. And at this stage, you can hit Save Booking to save that booking and commit it to the system. Now you do have this little icon here, it looks like recycling icon. This lets you do a recurring booking. So if this is something that Ms. Bennett wants every single month or every week, you can actually set this as a recurring booking. This recurring booking works just like Outlook recurring, so I can set it to be monthly, and I can be the 7th of each month or the first Thursday of each month, etc., daily, weekly, or even yearly. And I'm just going to hit Save, and again it warns me double booking. Okay. So there's my 2 bookings. Now I can adjust times and service providers right from this screen if I want. So I can click on this and move it to a different time or to a different service provider. Now the system, based on how you've set it up, will know if, for instance, that Heidi is not allowed to perform that service, it'll stop you, and it reverts it back to where it was. Now we're going to look at another booking here. So we're going to do, say, a body massage with at 11 o'clock. So in this one, we're going to do a slightly different scenario. So again, we're going to link it to a member. But this member is coming in with a friend, a guest. So I can either make that as 2 entirely separate bookings, or I can actually make both bookings under the one booking confirmation. So basically, at the top here, you have 2 little icons. One has a little plus sign, one has a red X. So if I click plus sign, it actually will add in a second person for this booking. So now let's say that we have a guest coming in. So at this point, this is just like a member. So if you're using the guest database in Jonas, you can do the search of the guest database just like you do the member database. If this is a brand new guest, you can go to Client Info and click New. And then just fill in the key information that you want. And then click Save. You do not have to generate a number. Jonas will generate the unique code automatically. So I go back to details. I now have my 2 people booked for this. So I'll go back to the member, and I'm basically going to say, well, the member wants a body massage, and we're going to do the body toner with Carrie and the aloe. I'm going to add that service. And then for Mary, she wants to have waxing and eyebrow shape and add service. Now, in this example, I forgot to change the time. So it's actually being booked below that, but she actually wants to have it at the same time. So what I can do is actually click on that booking and then change the time that I want it for. So I can say I want this at, say, 11:15. to 11:45, and then I click update. Now I gotta be careful in this scenario because if I hit add, it's going to add another booking for this eyebrow shape. I want to update to change my time frames. So now I've got them both booked in there. And then I'm just going to hit save booking. And then we have all our bookings on the screen. Now I'm going to go back into one of my bookings just to talk about a couple of other features in here. So basically, under options, you have a place to put some notes, and you have a locked booking. So if you flag this, it means that the person that made this booking is the only person who can edit it. Now, certain managers may have a setting that allows them to move a block booking, but for the most part, this just prevents either a receptionist or booking agents moving a booking that you have locked down. Client history will track all the past appointments and services that this particular member has had from the beginning of time. And booking log allows you to see what's happened with this booking. So who made the booking, who made the change, anything that's been changed on it will be tracked in here. Now the combined bookings, this can be used if you want to combine multiple bookings back into one. So back in our scenario where we created those two separate people under one booking, if I had done it as two separate bookings, and I wanted Ms. Brandy to pay for the entire thing, I could have then moved the bookings and combined them into one. Okay. So now we're going to look at the actual processing side. Now, there's two ways for me to process a booking. One is I can click on the individual booking and then click point of sale, or right click and launch point of sale. The only problem with doing it from this booking screen is that in this scenario we've got Bettina booked for two different services. If I click on this and launch point of sale, it'll only process that one service I have highlighted. So in a scenario where you've got multiple bookings, you usually want to double click and get right into the booking screen itself. And then make sure by clicking anywhere in the white section that no specific service is clicked. Then I can click launch point of sale. That will basically open the point of sale, put the charges on there, and now I can add additional product if I wanted to. And when it goes to settlement, if Ms. Bennett wanted to leave a gratuity, she can actually leave an extra gratuity if you allow for that. So I'm going to bill it to her member account. And the system will now take me back in. Now I have a commission set up on my service providers, and because there is a commission, it allows me to change how the distribution is. So for instance, maybe I'm not going to change it for the services and the products because I've predefined what the percentage breakout is. But that extra gratuity, I want to split between the two service providers. So if I click yes, I can actually come into the gratuity line and say, no, these two people are going to split it half and half. So I can either just override the amount and make it 25 each, or I could have switched it to percentage and made it 50% each. Either way really works. Now, it might be hard to see here, but it actually will turn these purple to signify that they have been processed through the point of sale. If for some reason I need to cancel these, I actually can double click and relaunch the point of sale, and it will actually issue a credit ticket. Keep in mind, if I do that, in this example I added product to the ticket, it will not reverse the products. It'll only reverse the services. So let's look at processing our duplicate where we've got 2 people booked under one. So again, in this one, you want to go into the booking, make sure nothing is highlighted. And in this scenario, obviously if I hit launch point of sale, at this stage it's going to open 2 point of sale tickets, one for each person set of charges. But let's say that Aurelia is actually going to pay for Mary Lawrence's charges. So what I can do is actually click assign charges. This will basically bring up and show how it's going to process the tickets. So if I wanted Miss Brandy to actually pay for Mary's service, all I have to do is click on her service, and you hold the mouse button and drag it. You need to drag it to the name. If you drag it anywhere below the name, it doesn't pick it up. Let's go right up to the name, and basically you've now moved the charge to this one ticket. And if you make a mistake, you can move it back again. And then split items allows me to split the individual item. So maybe I'm not paying for the whole item, if I'm paying for half of it, I could do split item. But if I'm paying for the whole thing, I'm just going to move it and then hit save and close. And now I'm going to launch point of sale. And it comes up and lets me move the charges or split if I want to. And just like the other one, it'll bring in the point of sale ticket. Go to payments and bill it to the member account. And that's it.